The sun shone brightly over the grand estate of Adrien Veynar, a self-made millionaire who had sculpted an empire from the dust of a poor childhood. To the world, he was a man who had it all: immense wealth, commanding power, a stunning mansion, and a glamorous fiancée who was the subject of widespread envy. But fate often has a cruel sense of humor, delighting in tearing away beautiful illusions. On a day he was meant to be across the country, Adrien came home early. He stepped quietly into the marble halls of his home, the silence feeling heavy, until he saw a sight so horrifying, so utterly heart-shattering, that his blood ran cold. His beloved fiancée, the woman he planned to build his future with, was raising her foot in a fit of rage. Her target was none other than his elderly mother, who stood frail and trembling, leaning on her walking stick, too weak to defend herself. In that one, sickening moment, the veil was ripped from Adrien's eyes, and everything he thought he knew about love, loyalty, and trust was destroyed. Adrien had always been a man of deep values, even as success piled up around him. His mother, Ara, had been the unwavering foundation of his entire life. After his father abandoned them, she raised him alone, working 3 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads and food on their table. Through years of endless sacrifice, she ensured her son never felt poor in spirit, even when their pockets were empty. When Adrien finally built his fortune, buying sprawling estates and luxury cars, his first priority was his mother. He gave her everything she deserved: comfort, dignity, and unconditional love. But Adrien also longed for a family of his own, a partner to share his life with. That was when he met Cassandra. She was a woman of striking beauty, with refined taste and a charisma that could light up any room. She appeared gentle, attentive, and seemed perfectly suited for the role of a millionaire's partner. At first, Ara welcomed her into their home, though a mother's intuition often sensed a cold shadow hiding behind Cassandra's perfect smile. The truth was, Cassandra had grown up craving wealth and status above all else. Her attraction to Adrien was not rooted in love for the man, but in the lavish life he could provide. While she showered Adrien with charm and affection, she grew increasingly cold toward his mother. She saw Ara as an obstacle, an inconvenience, a constant reminder that the fortune she desired came with family responsibilities she had no patience for. When Adrien was present, Cassandra played the part of the perfect, doting fiancé flawlessly. But the moment he traveled for business or was consumed by long meetings, her mask would slip. Ara found herself at the mercy of Cassandra's hidden scorn. She would belittle her, hide her essential medicines, and treat her with a deep, chilling disdain. Yet Ara never complained to her son. Her greatest fear was becoming a burden, causing him pain, or forcing him to choose between the 2 most important women in his life. She bore the cruelty in silence, praying that love would one day soften Cassandra's heart. But on that fateful morning, Adrien's business trip was unexpectedly cancelled. He decided to head home early, planning to surprise his mother with her favorite flowers and spend a quiet afternoon with her, a rare escape from the constant demands of his corporate world. As he entered the silent estate, he walked softly through the long hallway, drawn by the faint sound of a raised voice. When he turned the corner of the grand staircase, his heart stopped dead in his chest. There stood Cassandra, her face twisted in fury, her foot striking out at his mother, who stumbled, nearly losing her balance. Then came the words, sharp and poisonous, cutting through the air. "You're nothing but a burden in this house. Why don't you just disappear already?" The bouquet of beautiful flowers slipped from Adrien's numb fingers and scattered across the marble floor. In that single, horrifying instant, every illusion he held dear shattered into a million pieces. His fiancée, the woman he believed was his forever, had revealed her true, ugly self. His world tilted on its axis, and a violent storm brewed inside him. He rushed forward, his voice a low tremble of uncontrollable rage, his eyes burning with the sting of betrayal. Cassandra froze, the color draining from her face as she realized she had been caught. Ara's eyes filled with tears, not for herself, but for the devastating heartbreak her beloved son was now facing. The days that followed were the hardest of Adrian's life. He ended his engagement immediately, his heart heavy, but his mind resolute. Desperate not to lose the luxurious life she had so carefully secured, Cassandra tried everything. She pleaded, she cried, she attempted to justify her unforgivable actions. But Adrian's decision was final. His mother's dignity was not something he would ever negotiate. News of the broken engagement spread like wildfire, shocking everyone who had admired what they thought was a fairy tale romance. Many couldn't believe it had collapsed so suddenly. But Adrian now understood a hard truth. Beneath polished surfaces, a person's true character is revealed not in public displays, but in how they treat the most vulnerable behind closed doors. From that day on, Adrian devoted himself completely to his mother, determined to heal the wounds she had suffered in silence. He rearranged his entire lifestyle, spending more time at home and ensuring she felt cherished every single day. They would sit together on the balcony as the sun rose, sipping tea and sharing memories of simpler, happier times. He realized how much he had overlooked while chasing success, how often he had unknowingly left his mother alone with the very person who was hurting her. The guilt weighed heavily on him, but Ara, ever gentle, forgave him without a second thought. "You came back when it mattered most," she whispered to him one evening, her eyes full of a mother's endless love. "That is more than enough for me." Adrian's story, however, did not end in heartbreak. In the months that followed, he began to see the world with clearer eyes. His empire felt hollow if it wasn't built on a foundation of kindness and genuine respect. He grew closer to his employees, making sure their families were supported. He funded charities for elderly care, dedicating his resources to helping those who had no one to defend them. His mother became his partner in these endeavors, her wisdom and compassion guiding his steps. Slowly, Adrian's heart began to heal. The scars of betrayal remained, but they served as powerful reminders of the lesson he had learned. Wealth can buy many things, but it cannot buy character, and it can never replace the priceless value of true, selfless love. As for Cassandra, her world crumbled without Adrian's fortune to support her glamorous lifestyle. She had gambled her future on greed and lost everything in the process. The high society world she desperately wanted to belong to rejected her, and she became a lonely shadow of the vibrant figure she once pretended to be. Meanwhile, Adrian thrived, not just in his immense wealth, but in the richness of the love and respect that now surrounded him. His painful journey had led him back to what truly mattered: his mother's love, the very foundation of his being. Through his pain, he transformed, becoming not just a millionaire in wealth, but a millionaire in heart